As America prepares for its most patriotic holiday, recognizing our founding and independence, many key figures of our independence remain under attack. The Department of Homeland Security announcing a new task force to protect American monuments, memorials, and statues. So will we feel comfortable celebrating these examples of our independence, including our flag, this weekend? Let's bring in former House Oversight Committee Chairman Jason Chaffetz. Jason, great to see you. Thank you very much. First of all, you know, Independence Day used to be something that was so universally celebrated. We almost took it for granted that everybody would be a happy day, everybody be waving the flag. Now, you know, there's cities like New York and Minneapolis and Seattle where people don't seem to want to do that. It seems different this year. I imagine it doesn't much in Utah where you are, but it does in the cities. That's a shame, isn't it?
It is a shame, and I think it's pervasive everywhere, in part because of the coronavirus, but in part because of the rioting and the other things that have been happening. But I got to tell you, 4th of July should be one of those things that's almost out of bounds for that. You know, I remember when Barack Obama used to say, "We're not the red states, we're not the blue states, we're the United States." And that resonated. I'm about as conservative as it gets, but when he said that, I think he meant it, and I think it resonated with everybody, and it was a good moment. But somehow, some way, I got to tell you, I think it's wrong to go after the flag. And you can point to Colin Kaepernick and some other things that happened along the way. But it just seems to me that when we're talking about the beauty of the United States of America, despite all the flaws and problems we've had in the past, it's still the greatest nation on the face of the planet, and we should be able to wave the red, white, and blue.
That's why people, white, black, yellow, whatever, come here to escape what they don't have in their home countries. But you know, you mentioned President Obama's statement. I think it reminded me of Alveda King's statement that we are not a white race or a black race, we're the human race, and we should focus on that. And you look at these protests, they began as something, then they turned very different. They began as an anti-racism protest, then they became an anti-American protest, because it wasn't just Confederate statues that people went after, it was statues of Ulysses Grant, Union leaders and great Americans that had nothing to do with the Confederacy or with something that we're not very proud of as a nation. And corporations have kind of fallen into the trap of going with those protests, even as they morphed into an anti-Americanism, something far beyond being anti-racist.
I got to tell you, I believe that protesting is about as American as it gets. But there's a wrong way to do it when it becomes rioting and looting and just taking it upon yourself to deface a public statue or start to tear down these statues. If you want to make a change in your community, then do it the right way. It's the wrong way. It's the anti-American way to just do it unilaterally and, you know, throw paint on it, on something, or try to tear it down. I feel for those law enforcement officers that have to protect those. The community as a whole should have to be able to protect those. But it is this fringe element that just goes out there and doesn't want to be heard. They want to intimidate, and I think that is a step too far.
Well, that fringe element, by the way, did tip their hand when they started going after union leaders and other people that were clearly heroic in the way they led their lives. And I think that the president's move to protect those statues, Mount Rushmore is where he's going to be speaking. I don't think that's accidental. I think Americans are going to appreciate that. Congressman, we got to leave it at that. Great to see you have a wonderful Independence Day celebration.
Thank you.
Thank you.